Alexander Volkanovski, if he wins this fight, is going to do it by KO. We're just going to have to suck it up and deal with it. Alexander Volkanovski fans, we've got a couple more days. The walls are closing in, and depending on how badly Volkanovski gets beat this weekend, we're going to have to deal with 6 months, guys, 6 months at least of Volk slander and people calling us out for ever throwing him on our top 10 lists, our top 5 lists. And before I get into what a win for both of these guys would mean in regards to their legacy, I'm going to break down this fight to a T. That's right. I'm going to give my official prediction. I'm going to tell you exactly how I think Islam Makhachev can win this fight. And I'm also going to tell you how Alexander Volkanovski can knock out Islam Makhachev. I'm going to use footage to break it down. This is going to be an in-depth breakdown, and we'll talk about that first. Later, we'll get to the legacy. Guys, I want to thank you for 7,000 subscribers. My channel is going crazy right now, and I can't thank you guys enough for the support, so I really appreciate it. And without further ado, let's get into the breakdown. I am not delusional enough to sit here and say that the number one best fighter on the planet, Alexander Volkanovski, has no path to victory. I think he does. It's just not a good, percentage chance. I don't think he has a great probability to pull this one off. So I am picking Islam, and I will tell you guys exactly how Islam gets this done. I'm going to mention Volkanovski's path to victory first. He's going to be filling out more. He's not going to have to cut those last 10 pounds. I think he's going to have more energy throughout the week. I know that when guys are cutting weight, as they get closer to the week of their fight, they are consistently draining themselves of a little bit of energy. That's just how it is. Even if you're a guy that cuts a shitload of weight during the last second to, basically be able to train super hard leading up to that week, you're still diminishing your calories. Now, Volkanovski, I know this guy is just fucking bouncing off the walls with energy. I think he's going to have more power in this division. I really do. You look at his old fights, he's KOing guys stiff, as I mentioned, and I think he's going to have a massive speed advantage over Islam Makhachev. Now, when we see a guy like Charles Oliveira, who we thought was going to be like the most dangerous striker that Islam's ever taken on with technique, with power and aggression, Charles Oliveira doesn't move his head all that much. This guy gets hit all the time. He gets dropped all the time. He has a suspect chin. Now, Volkanovski, not cutting weight either, is going to have a bit of a better chin than he would normally have too. And this guy is just moving in straight lines. He pressures a guy, he's going right towards them in a straight line. He's getting pressured, he's going right back. Volkanovski is always using his footwork to move side to side, good lateral movement across the octagon. He's constantly throwing like bullet fast leg kicks to throw people off of their game. One of the things that I noticed Alexander Volkanovski do, and I've said that it's going to be really dangerous for him to go with a lead kick to the body like he likes to use to finish off of his combinations to just, tire out his opponents. He's not going to be able to go to the body as much because it's more likely that that would get caught by Islam, but I do see him going to the calf kicks. When Alexander Volkanovski gets pressured up against the fence, one of the ways in which he's able to evade his opponent cornering him down and being able to clinch or basically keep him there in a corner and then tee off on him is he throws a lightning fast lead kick to the calf, which then throws his opponent off balance and allows Alexander Volkanovski to either land a really good jab on his opponent who is then standing square in front of him, or it allows Volkanovski to move to the left, to move to the right, to circle around the octagon. And I think that because he fires these off so fucking fast, I think he's going to be able to use them to prevent Islam Makhachev from clinching with him up against the fence. And I think he's going to be able to do that to make sure he can have more time on the feet with Islam. Now, because he has more power and he has the speed advantage, I know Islam Makhachev is really good defensively on the feet. I could just see Alexander Volkanovski catching him with something big in the early rounds, just because this is the fastest guy, the most skilled guy in the featherweight division. When guys move up from featherweight to lightweight, they have a massive speed advantage. We've seen it before, and I think he's going to be able to counter Islam. Islam is usually very patient. He usually likes to counter. He's got this really tight guard. Now, I want to show you guys exactly the kind of counter that I'm expecting in this fight. So here's a perfect example of the kind of counter that I'm talking about. Max Holloway is going to go for a big shot here, and Alexander Volkanovski is going to slip it and follow up with a big right hand. Look at that. Boom. Right in the face. Now, the video is mirrored, so it looks like a left hand, but it's a right hand. How is he going to be able to draw that attack out during the fight? This is how. Well, here's another example from the Max Holloway fight. Alexander Volkanovski is going to show Max Holloway a right hand. Then he's going to throw a left hook, but he's not committing with the left hook. He's then going to come back with the right hand, and he's going to crack Max Holloway big time. Now watch this go down. This is amazing right here. Really good work from Alexander Volkanovski. Just check this out. Lightning fast. Hits Max Holloway with a big shot right there. Connects on the side of the chin. Slow-mo. Bam. Shows him the right. Follows up with the left hook. And then comes back with the right. Dude, if he can hit anyone with this shot, I mean, he's skilled enough to do it, and he uses his speed. I really think that Alexander Volkanovski can hit Islam Makhachev with a big shot like this. As I said, he's going to draw out an attack with this. In this sequence, Max Holloway is trying to counter with a left hook because at first he sees the right hand, it misses, and he's like, all right, I'm going to go for the counter. He already missed his right hand. Volkanovski goes with a left hook, and then he's able to torque his body back with the right hand right after Holloway throws that left hook right here. Bam! Dude, I think he can hit Islam with a big shot. And if he really commits to one of these, man, that extra power could do him wonders. And he's done it to Max quite a lot. I think he can pull an attack out of Islam Makhachev in the center of the cage, get him to try to counter with a big shot, and then just fucking go over the top, bro. I'm thinking about Volkanovski KOing him, bro. Just fucking crack him, man. I hope he gets this one done by KO. But you know what I mean? I think Volkanovski is going to be able to counter Islam Makhachev with a massive shot. If that is his game plan, to just stay reserved, to make sure it's in the center of the octagon, I think there is a chance that he could hurt an Islam Makhachev and then put him out cold. Not cold, but like hurt him badly and then TKO him or something like that. That's his path to victory. Because what's his other path? Like dropping Islam in multiple rounds? Like, I don't know, man. Because I just think that Islam's going to wear on him with his size. And we see guys move up a weight class. When they get grappled, they just tend to tire out a little bit much. Even when DC had the grappling advantage over Stipe, he was moving up to the bigger weight class. Stipe is just naturally a bigger guy, has been fighting at heavyweight for longer. He was the last guy to break. He broke Daniel Cormier in that second fight. We've seen Israel Adesanya kind of gas out and have nothing for Jan Blachowicz in the latter rounds. So I think his path to victory is to get a big knockout. Now, let's move on to Islam Makhachev's path to victory. Islam, I believe that his way to win this fight is going to be up in the clinch with Alexander Volkanovski, and I am going with a third round submission. There's a chance that if he takes Volk down early and finds a mount when both of them are dry, he could, really beat him up badly and then take his back or just TKO him. The ref steps in. Or he could maybe bully him into a submission, maybe an arm triangle or a Kimura. That can happen too if both of these guys are dry. But I think it's more likely that Volkanovski is going to be a hard man to put away early on. I think that Islam's going to have to wear on him. Knees to the body, not really stress himself out too much about taking Volk down, but just wearing on him, making him feel his strength. And by the second, third round, Volkanovski's going to be more tired, and he's going to find himself in these bad positions and just say, okay, I'm just going to play it safe instead of I'm going to try to get him off of me. I think Volkanovski is going to start losing his energy, and as the rounds go on, I could see Islam having more success with the takedowns up against the clinch. I don't see him shooting for single legs and double legs like that in the center of the octagon. And judo, this is what I want to talk about, guys. Islam Makhachev's judo is the most dangerous part of his ability to take guys down. And I think judo is extremely underrated because it's not all about the throws and the trips. It's also about getting people down and pinning them on the ground, getting them into really good positions. I think that Islam Makhachev, he is going to absolutely sun Alexander Volkanovski with his judo because wrestling, it involves a lot of grit and mental toughness and fucking strength and that, idea of just bulldozing and bullying your opponent. Of course, you need mental toughness and grit and strength in judo, but if you're not an experienced judoka and you're going up against a guy like Islam Makhachev that's definitely practiced it throughout his career because in Dagestan they love judo as well and he has implemented a lot in MMA, the skill discrepancy is going to allow Islam Makhachev to just take Volkanovski down with ease. You don't need that much strength to be able to take someone down that's around your size in judo. It's all about manipulating their body weight around, getting them off balance, and then tripping them. Okay, I'm going to show you guys an example of Islam Makhachev's judo in MMA. Here he is fighting Drew Dober, and he's going to go for an Ochigari trip up against the fence. So the goal of this is to get an inside trip using a hooking motion with your leg. And since you can't use a grip on a gi in MMA, you use an underhook to pull your opponent down in the direction of where you're hooking their leg. And this is one of the ways in which I think Islam Makhachev is going to be able to take down Alexander Volkanovski. So it doesn't matter how explosive Alexander Volkanovski is, when he's in there with Islam Makhachev, who knows what the fuck to do with his judo, takes one wrong move for Alexander Volkanovski to be off balance, and then he's on his back, and Islam Makhachev's on top of him. But Alexander Volkanovski, if he beats Islam Makhachev, that's a top 3 all-time fighter. It just is. I know other guys have taken second belts, but you're comparing Alexander Volkanovski's win over Islam to a GSP's win over an old Michael Bisping with one eye. Not even close. You're also going to be comparing him with an Anderson Silva who went on like a 7-fight loss streak at the end of his career that never got a second belt. If Alexander Volkanovski beats Islam Makhachev, that is the most impressive win that anyone in the history of MMA has ever pulled off. He is fighting an uphill battle, bro. If he beats Islam, that is the toughest matchup he could ever take throughout his entire career. And this is going to put him up there, bro. Like, he's already the featherweight GOAT. Now, if he beats Islam, that's top 3 all time. He goes down, defends the belt one more time at featherweight, bounces up, defends one more time at lightweight, and bounces. We got a new numero uno, straight up. Now, if he loses, I think he bumps down 2 spots. The margins between these guys on the GOAT list are so slim that I would put Khabib ahead of Volk because he's never lost, and Volk is finally lost. It is what it is. And I would put Henry Cejudo ahead of Volk. So I'd put Volk in my 7th spot. Does it do anything to his featherweight rankings? Does anyone surpass him? Fuck no. He's still the featherweight GOAT. Losing to Islam Makhachev, who is the toughest matchup for anyone in the 145-pound weight class, doesn't bump him down. Now, Islam Makhachev, I get this idea that people are going to discredit his win if he gets it done over Alexander Volkanovski just because Volk is fucking short and he doesn't knock people out. I really do. Now, everyone at this point kind of realizes how good Alexander Volkanovski is on the feet. I know he doesn't have a lot of power, and that's why people are writing this one off, because not only is Volkanovski short, he's not the biggest 145er, but no one really sees him being able to hurt Islam on the feet, and people don't look at that as like a big threat. They look at a guy like Rafael Fiziev and say, that's the threat. Meanwhile, Rafael Fiziev's getting the snot beat out of him by Bobby Green in the 2nd and 3rd round. You know, this guy's best win is over an RDA who's an older man. So I don't want to hear that yet. Volkanovski is the best striker in the world right now for mixed martial arts, which in my opinion, it makes him the best striker on fucking earth. If you're going to throw him in a mixed martial arts setting, he's higher level than anyone. This guy makes everybody look slow. He makes everyone look like they don't belong there. I've been rewatching his fights, and I'm starting to get the fucking nervous feeling that we always have before these massive fights. And it's crazy to me, but I just catch myself throughout the day thinking, holy shit, like, this is fucking Alexander the Great. This guy schools everyone. And my point is, he uses his physicality and his athleticism and his size, his rugby mentality to just bulldoze people, and he bullies people around at featherweight. Now, if Islam beats that guy, that's not some small little featherweight. Look at this dude when he cuts weight, when he goes on a post, weigh-in show in front of Laura Sanko in DC, sitting at the desk after he weighs in. He looks like he's on death's door. He looks like he's just come out of a fucking, prison camp to where he's been starved. I mean, his eyes are like 2 feet in the back of his head. He has rings around his eyes that are like pitch black. He's got a death face, sunken in cheeks. He's going on these big weight cuts. Now, some guys, they do have more power when they cut weight, and that's one of the reasons why people want to cut weight, so they have a strength and power advantage. Volkanovski might be a little bit sharper when he cuts down to 45 because there must be a reason as to why he does it. I get the idea that because this guy was so big in the past, when he fights at 155, and he has wins at 155, you watch them back in the day, this dude was KOing people stiff, like eyes rolling in the back of their head type of KOs. I think he's just going to be filling out more. I think it's going to benefit him a lot with his power, because this is a guy that I think has a little bit of that power diminish. I think he was cracking a little bit harder in the beginning of his career, even when he was fighting at featherweight against a guy like Chad Mendes, because he was closer to the days to where he was fighting at lightweight. And I think the longer he's cut more weights, he's gone on more weight cuts, I think that has actually diminished this guy's size a little bit. So he's been bulking up, he's been filling out, and he's filling back into his old frame. This to me is a legit lightweight. This to me is not a guy that is going to be super undersized. I don't think that Alexander Volkanovski will be like smaller than Justin Gaethje, will be weaker than a Justin Gaethje or weaker than a Conor McGregor. I think this guy is going to be a fucking full-on freak of nature at 55 too. It's just that when you compare even the biggest lightweights, because he's not going to be the biggest lightweight, like a Charles Oliveira who cuts a lot of weight, everyone just seems to be at a strength disadvantage against Islam. Everyone seems to be undersized against Islam. He's not only big and strong and muscular, but he's also kind of tall. And grappling, strength means a lot for grappling. He's been doing it since he's a kid. But my point is, if he beats Alexander Volkanovski, that's an extremely impressive win. So you have to give him just the same amount of credit as he would get as if he would have beat a Fiziev or a Dustin Poirier. You know what I mean? This is even more impressive considering Alexander Volkanovski is twice as fast as those guys, has a better IQ, has a better legacy. And my point is, if he beats him, bro, he has tied Khabib on the lightweight list. He already has a win over Charles Oliveira, who's the second best lightweight of all time. Then a win over a guy who I think is a top 5 fucking fighter ever, and the featherweight GOAT, who is the best striker in MMA. Like, congrats, bro. You're right where Khabib was, and you actually have a knockout loss on your record. Much better resume as a champion than Khabib. And all the wins, it's just crazy to me. And if he wins one more, he surpasses Khabib. So if he gets this one done, he's a top 10 fighter right now. I think he goes right up there with Khabib, straight up. If Khabib's only done lightweight and he's now tied with Khabib, they're right next to each other. Top 10 fighter. Now, if he loses, this bumps him down. I think people will think of it as he was exposed. But, hey, as I said, Volkanovski goes right into the top 5, like the 3 spot for me. So if Islam loses, no shame to him. It's just that he fought literally the fucking GOAT is what's actually going to happen. So that's what it does for these guys' legacies. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed my breakdown. I'm really looking forward to this fight, and I'm rooting for Alexander Volkanovski. If he can pull this one off, bro, that's just going to be incredible. Who do you guys think is going to win this fight and how? Let me know in the comments. And if you disagree with me, let me know why in the comments as well. Until next time.
If you're still eating seed oil and soy-filled cookies like Oreos, you're just demolishing your health. So I'm gonna show you guys how to make some real cookies that are both healthy and delicious.
We're gonna make my famous chocolate chip cookies. Combine 2 pasture-raised eggs with some grass-fed or raw butter, some good quality animal fats, add some organic vanilla extract, and about a cup of raw honey. Now we're gonna mix it up and get ready for the most crucial ingredient, our einkorn wheat. This is the rawest, most original form of wheat. We're gonna add a half a banana to give these cookies a little more flavor, and just look at that beautiful cookie dough. We're gonna mix that up, and to top it off, of course, our chocolate chips. We're gonna use 100% organic cacao nibs, the most raw form of chocolate. Put this in the oven at 375 for 10 minutes and enjoy. These are the tastiest cookies I've ever had, and for more recipes like this, check out my Real Food Cookbook. You can find the link in my bio.